Today on Media Alert Sandwich, we have Michael Reiser.
Yeah, he's starting a podcast network.
Yeah, but guess what? He's also a storm chaser!
Welcome to Media Alert Sandwich. Media creators talking about the world about creating media. With me is William from
AllAboutWilliam.com.
and Mark from
CrazyMark.com.
Today we're going to talk about, another podcast network. We've had a few people that's creating new platforms and networks and all that stuff, and we're not ending here. We got a few more coming up, but today it's going to be a little bit different. It's another. No, might be the second local Detroit network person I believe we had. Yeah, because we had Pod Bros on a while ago, back when we first started. But we're no longer with Pod Bros, even though we love those guys. They're fantastic. We just left because, well, it's a business. you got to find the right network for you if you're looking for the network. So starting up a brand new network, let's see how this goes. Hey, Michael, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Michael Reiser. Thank you guys for having me on the show tonight. I do appreciate it. I wanted to go ahead and talk about my network tonight. We're just getting in the stages of launching the Podcast Elite Network. We did a soft launch in February, and we've been adding some content and going over things with our show's hosts since then. Been a little slower of a launch than I really anticipated it being, but so far so good.
Okay.
And
what's the network called?
The Podcast Elite Network.
Okay, so not Elite Podcast Elite, because that sounds like because I Googled it and the other version popped up.
Yeah, it did, and luckily they're not active at all. So I don't think it's going to pose much of an issue. I went with Podcast Elite because what I wanted to base my network around, you see a lot of networks these days who have 70 and 80 shows on them, and 60 of those shows will be the same topic as what the other ones are doing. I set out to be a little bit different. I have 8 shows on my network. Not one of my shows is like the other. I have 8 niche shows that people can go to and listen to individually that's completely different. You're not going to hear 2 video game shows on my network, or you're not going to hear 5 or 10 technology podcasts. You're going to go to each one of my hosts because they're doing their own thing. Each show has their own own identity, their own individual feel and vibe. So I'm trying to go about it, keeping it very small, but trying to appeal to each demographic that I can hit.
Sweet, you're keeping it unique. That's a good thing.
That's what I'm trying to do. There's a couple shows on my network that I absolutely adore that I think are going to be bigger than my network one day. So,
well, let me ask you, any of your show hosts that you have jumping onto your network, do they have any kind of shtick or any kind of crazy thing that sticks out as far as a trademark goes?
Well, I don't know if anybody has anything crazy. I think my show hosts. The one show that I'm really excited for is a tattoo podcast that I think is. I was lucky enough to contact Abby. Abby Shepherd, her last, and she works with Samantha B on TBS's Full Frontal. She's
right on.
She's a part of that crew, and I have 2 of her shows that she helps produce on my network. I'm very blessed to have somebody as talented.
That is sweet, man. You got a good connection there, man.
I did. No, she is by far, and I've read she did College Humor and Funny or Die, and I loved her stuff that she did with them. So I knew about her before I even saw her in the podcast groups. So when I was able to make a connection with her and talk about what we're doing, she's bringing me a couple different. I think the one show that I think if you're going to look at unique, there's a show that I can't get into it too much because it's debuting soon. But it's a scripted show where you have 2 mediums or psychics who talk to dead people and they solve little mysteries and throughout each episode. I am so thrilled about it. And I think the tattoo show will be unique too. People might dig that more than they think. It's hard to incorporate when you think about doing a tattoo podcast. how are they going to pull that off? How's someone do that?
I'm sure there's already tattoo podcasts out there, and
I'm sure.
I mean, every day at my work and walk around, people will sit there and talk about tattoos.
I saw something recently
long.
like that with Motor City Geek, I think.
Yeah,
there's
several. Yeah. There's several tattoo conventions in the area. There's several of them.
And then was that a Tune In Tuesdays with VJ Strokenfold? They deal with that kind of thing.
But the show I'm really excited for, and I've listened to almost every episode now. It's called The Secret Life of Weddings, and you wouldn't think a guy would be excited for a show like this, but I think this is going to hit the guys, that male demographic more. It's going to be huge with females, but the male demographic is going to love this show. These two girls are by far the most raunchy, funny, witty, and just spot on timing with each other that I've ever heard. And I truly believe, and I told them this, and I'm lucky to even have them on my network. To me, I'm blessed. I've told them this, that your show one day is going to be bigger than any little podcast network that can be started. You know, it's great that they're here with us now, and I appreciate it while I appreciate it while I have it. But I think this show that they're doing is, even though a lot of people do wedding podcasts, they don't do it like these girls do it. I mean, it's a unique show that I think everyone's going to love. I think it's going to touch somebody in certain ways that they're going to fall in love with it.
Yeah, wedding and bridal is a huge market.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Women love that.
Yeah. Now, when you first were telling me about the network, there was one thing that you were bringing up, and I've been curious about this for a while, so I definitely want you to tell me how this goes. I've always wondered if somebody could live off of selling sponsors for podcasts or YouTube channels, whatever, and just live off the commission. I mean, almost every network says, hey, sponsors come to us. If we get you something, we take a percentage. But how many podcast networks actually has an employed salesperson that is actively looking for sponsors?
Well, so when I was with Podcast Detroit and I was with the Chasers Lounge, my first season I did, I was lucky enough, I got Big Ben's Comics and Allen Park to sponsor me.
Mm-hmm.
Love Mr. Ben. Love that place. They're so good.
Oh, yeah. First comic book store I went to as a kid.
Definitely. And they're still
I was lucky enough to meet James O'Barr several times. I used to go there and sell stuff and hang out with them. I never knew it was James O'Barr until I later started seeing interviews. I was like, I always want to meet the creator of The Crow. And then I realized, I've had many conversations with them. I never knew it was him. Huh.
Yeah, but
I just thought he was just some guy that got lost.
Yeah, but that staff to this day is so good to me. And I did a 14 episode season 1. My goal with my show was always, I'm somebody who's creatively driven. So I go from project to project. And so I wanted to do a set 14 episode season, and they paid me $25 an episode to advertise for them. Which I thought at the time, I wasn't looking to make any money. I was just looking to offset the studio cost, and it helped. But then when I came back and I did I don't know if it was more of a power play on my end or not, but I was Podcast Detroit's one of their highest rated shows they had. I was, if you look in their SoundCloud downloads, it's not just me talking about it, but if you look in their SoundCloud downloads, I'm consistently their only show that hits triple digits on every single episode they put out. And that's just on SoundCloud. That's not accounting for iTunes and the social media reaches and everything that I have as far as YouTube goes and all that. My fan base on my one just alone for my show is bigger than what you see on Podcast Detroit's Facebook network. So I held out and I waited about a year in between seasons. And when I came back, they were nothing but good to me. I can't say enough good things about Podcast Detroit. Dave and Bob were always very accommodating with me. I can't say their whole entire staff I love their staff.
Yeah,
I love
I love Dave and Bob as well. They're
Definitely,
fantastic. We have nothing but love
they're
towards
OGs.
Podcast Detroit. Yep.
They're OGs in the game, right?
Every one of the local networks I've hung out with, Podcast Detroit, Pod Bros, Slackjaw Punks, all more than I could think of off the top of my head. Everyone's been so freaking cool. It's just you don't always. It's not always the best match. Same thing when I was doing YouTube networks. It's not always the best match. That's all it is. And every network is completely different from another one in certain standpoints. So that's all that is.
So when I came back for season 2, they welcomed me back with open arms. They, made a big deal about my return. Just a week before I came back for season 2, I was contacted by Discovery Channel. And I was being casted to be a star in the reboot of Storm Chasers, which we just found out this week that they're going with another approach to the show, but my show's on the back burner. So it's still possible it happens. They're just not 100% sure. So I came back raring and ready to go because I talked to Dave before I returned, and I said, hey, I have this thing going on with Discovery Channel. They know about my podcast. They even mentioned coming to your studio and shooting some things and incorporating it into the show too. So not only was this going to be big for me, it was going to be huge for Podcast Detroit. So I came back and I had my season 2 premiere, and it went well, and awesome ratings, live viewership was off the charts, great. Just as episode 2 and 3 came, everything was still fantastic. Views and downloads were there. Just I wasn't very happy with how my show was being marketed, and I didn't like that very much. It caused me to have some real, not resentment, but just wondering why. I know you're a network of 90 shows. I would have loved to. I'm dedicated, even though I was going monthly. I'm somebody who always brings you ratings. I did a fundraiser for Julie Strong. And the network was there. We gave this woman a check for hundreds of dollars at the Podcast Detroit studio. That did good deeds. The name of the Podcast Detroit went out. It was fantastic. All I wanted to do was be marketed a little bit better. I wasn't asking for star treatment, or I wasn't trying to be a diva like some people thought I was. I just wanted a little bit more exposure for my show, because honestly, if you're on a network, who doesn't want that?
Right.
If you're doing well, if you're doing some ratings, you want to be marketed. At that point, I had already created two more shows.
There's a reason why when I say, I don't do it every single time, but when I say, oh, you can find us on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, Google, Podknife, I say Podknife. Most people never even heard of Podknife. Why do I mention Podknife? Because when we were first put on Podknife, they tweeted us out. They tweeted a couple episodes. They had even a little description for us. Whoever handled their social media took the time to watch, or at least got familiar with us. I really appreciate that. I might not shout out Podknife every single time, but when I'm mentioning apps and podcast sites, I do mention them, every once in a while, along with, considering the big ones like TuneIn and all that stuff. Right. And no, that wasn't just a shameless plug, but it had a point.
No, it's
I got a question here. Now let's jump over here to the storm chasing. Have you ever had to, while you're chasing tornadoes or, being around hurricanes, whatever, have you ever found yourself having to run for cover, like say, for example, from a tornado?
We should clarify, because we never actually said, not only do you run a podcast about storm chasing, but you are a storm chaser.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking to a storm chaser that does some crazy ass stuff.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to, the one time I had to really haul ass, it was 2 years ago, almost to the day, on March 15th in Illinois. It was the first big setup of the year. We drove out, and we were really excited. We got in this really beautiful tornado-warned storm. It was getting dark, though, and it's really dangerous to chase at night if you're not fully trained and you don't know what, you're not just in touch with everything that's going on. It's really hard to chase at night. So we positioned ourselves right near the wall cloud. The wall cloud is where the tornado drops, and I get out of the car. My partner gets out of the car. And we're looking around. We can't find this tornado. We know it's on the ground somewhere. We've seen it on radar. We just can't find it. It's just pitch dark outside. And I'm looking up above my car because it could drop right on us at any point in time. And he goes out into the field a little bit, about 500 feet away from me, maybe less than that. And all I hear him scream is, "I found the tornado!" And I'm looking around, and I don't see it. He comes dashing back to the car. I turn around and I see behind him there's this giant stovepipe tornado on the ground, and it is huge.
Right on.
And I'm looking, and the first thing I thought to myself is, how did I miss something that's so fucking big? Excuse the language. I don't know if you guys use that, but I don't know how I missed something so big. And it was coming directly at us. We had to run back to the car. We blasted down this little residential street of new houses that were just built in Illinois and Springfield. And we're just dreading it because we know these houses are just about to get wrecked and eliminated. We have people who are actually on their porch watching the tornado approach them. And we're honking our horn, trying to get these people to go back inside. And these people are just out with their cameras like, "Oh, I'm just going to take a picture of this." And I'm like, "Are you stupid?"
Yeah, they
Get
don't
back in your
realize the
house.
power of those things. It can blow
Like,
just like splinters through steel. It blows wood
So-
through steel, man.
We get to the end of the street and we get out of the car because we're yelling at these people, "Get inside, take cover. It's coming right at you." We don't have anywhere to go. It was a bend. It was just going to take us back around into the tornado. And we're sitting there making peace with it. And the tornado turned right just a little bit. Made a little bit of a right turn and lifted right before it hit the houses. And we watched this thing lift and miss us by 75 yards. And it was by far, it was like one of those moments where before this thing turned right just slightly, it's true what they say. If you're in a life or death situation, you do get some kind of a flash of like what you've done in your life so far. And you see certain things and it's humbling. It really is. But yeah, we came 75 yards from taking a direct hit, and it was pretty crazy.
Wow, man, that's awesome. I mean, back up in Pennsylvania, I lived up there for a while, and there was a tornado that touched down. I was out riding my bike, and what a dumbass. I thought I would ride my bike right into it. Yeah, but when you see a tree fly by,
You get the music from
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
when you see stuff like that happen, all of a sudden, huge ground rocks become your best friend, and you better believe the first thing I did, I just like jumped behind. I clutched the ground and hid behind this thing, behind these huge rocks. While this thing came in, I'm seeing stuff fly overhead. I'm closing my eyes, head under your hands, tuck roll.
Oh,
kiss ass
don't
goodbye.
do that. No.
I wish I had the pictures I had in storms, like really big sandstorms in
Yeah.
Kuwait.
Oh man,
When you're in the middle of nowhere, you can. I wish I could find this picture. Or one, all my cameras were all messed up because this was 2003. All the I didn't have any digital cameras, so I had those little point and shoots you buy at the pharmacy or whatever, and all of them were messed up. But someone took some pictures, and we had this one picture. You could see a super nice, clear day, and then gets a little bit darker, massive storm. And he even caught a lightning bolt coming down in that storm.
Yeah.
Just an amazing, all this in one picture. Because you could see for just miles and miles when they're in the middle of nowhere. And those sandstorms, there's no buildings, no nothing to stop that wind. I remember coming home from security detail, and the sergeant said, we're debriefing us like, "Okay, go back to where your tents used to be." Excuse me, what? Our tent was all up in the concertina wire. It was just, I was mad. I was very.
But man, that's great. Sounds like you've had some pretty wild and crazy life and death situations out there chasing the big wind.
Yeah, it's the other thing I think people underestimate, they don't value as much is the travel. You get to see a lot of really nice places. I've been blessed to see so many beautiful parts of the country. The travel, people love to travel and they don't understand. You're in a car for 12 hours out of 24 hours just driving and driving and driving. So you just got to learn to appreciate your surroundings. And I've seen so many beautiful places now in cities that that's something else that I really value about the experience.
How do you finance this?
Whew. 95% of it's out of pocket. It's not cheap. It's a real expensive hobby.
A lot of skin in the game, dude.
It's it's a really expensive hobby.
Sounds like music.
Yeah, it's a lot of people compare it to being to music, but it's a lot of gas money. So when you chase, I chase 2 or 3 days at a time, and you never get a good night's sleep. You never eat anything good. You're always eating gas station food, and which, by the way, I'm going to give everybody a tip. If you're in Iowa, even though the sign's appealing, do not order a pizza from any of the come and goes in Iowa. It's not worth it. It'll ruin your stomach.
I'll have to ask Sam. We had a action photographer that drives back and forth across country by herself. Goes to all the national parks. I think she might have tried that. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, no, I was so excited when we got into Iowa and I saw it come and go, and I was like, wow, we have to go there. And
yeah, she makes it a point to go there every time she's near there. Yeah,
definitely.
You gotta go to the come and go.
You gotta go to the come and go. You've never been to a come and go?
I think it's more expensive when you go, Mark.
Oh, Waffle House, though. Yeah, I've been told a Waffle.
See, that's another thing that's on my list. I've not been to an authentic Waffle House yet.
Wow.
So it's on my list. Just like Chick-fil-A. I didn't get Chick-fil-A until last year. When I went chasing. I came home through Ohio. I was chasing Indiana. I chased a tornado into Ohio. It dissipated in the rain, and then I drove up 75, and I finally found a Chick-fil-A, and I ate Chick-fil-A by myself, and I was like, this is just heaven right here. And the fact we don't have more of them this year.
Sounds like miracle food.
Chick-fil-A actually coming back to Cedar Point. Cedar Point will have a Chick-fil-A again. I don't know why that's important, but apparently they had to release a news thing about that. I have no idea why that's important. I used to live in North Carolina. There was a Chick-fil-A every other mile. So
we need one downriver. We need a Chick-fil-A downriver.
Yeah, we need to replace what's that? Sonics with Chick-fil-A.
There we go.
Yeah. I still never ate Sonics. I had a hot dog from there once. I did that. I had a hot dog and then a shake from Sonics, but I was told just don't bother buying food from Sonics.
I don't know.
I've never had
like
Sonics.
The tater tots are white.
It's a
Whose
big
tater tots are
rush.
Whose tater tots are white?
I got some Szechuan sauce. Would that make them better?
I have Szechuan sauce too. I made it a point for me to pay for extra Szechuan sauce. That way I could have it stored. That way, in case anybody wants to trade me a car or something like that for a pack of Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, but it's got, the expensive ones are the Rick and Morty branded ones. Even though they're not Rick and Morty branded, but they came out. They have the crazy cartoons on the normal labels. Well, we'll find out once they cancel it again.
That's the first thing when the Szechuan sauce came out. I made sure that I had a 20-piece and some Szechuan.
Oh yeah. I got some Szechuans there. It's not as messed up as I thought it was going to be. I think when I was a kid, everyone told me it was gross. So I'm like, yeah, what do I need it for?
Well, it's just it's like a teriyaki sauce kind of.
I like teriyaki. That's the funny thing. And so I don't mind it because if someone told me that, I would have been all over it. It's a little bit different, more plum flavor.
I'm going to stick with Waffle House, though. Anytime I cross the border in Ohio.
The greasier, the better for a Waffle House.
Dude, man, I'm visiting one of my college professor friends down in Bowling Green. Goes, hey, man, I'll take you out to dinner. Where you want to go? Waffle House. Hey, Dave Lubeck from Molly Hatchie's say, Mark, when was the last time you went to Waffle House? Let's go out and have a waffle. That was years ago.
Oh, and the bad thing is, too, there's like an authentic Waffle House right over the border of Ohio.
Yep.
Right there, yep.
And I would love to take a road trip there. But I don't have anybody who has the desire that much to go to a Waffle House like I do. Apparently,
Oh,
everybody else has
man,
been to a
yeah, we
Waffle
gotta do
House.
I don't
Waffle
mind.
House,
I
man.
always liked Waffle Houses.
Well, do you guys shoot live content? I mean, we're doing So one of the things that me and my partner Chase, we're gonna branch out a little bit with our YouTube, and we're gonna shoot some video, like we're gonna do like food reviews and everything, because the life of like I said, even as a storm chaser on the road is just terrible. So we want to do some like finer dining stuff. So I would,
I like
I
that
would love
finer dining at Waffle House.
a finer dining. Hey, if you, I had a cold Bosco stick, and that's the only thing I ate for 24 hours.
Oh,
During one of our chases last season. So if you want to tell me that you're not a step up of you wouldn't call fine dining Waffle House after eating a Bosco stick. It's just one Bosco stick for 24 hours. That's the
That's a mighty
epitome of fine
good.
dining. The epitome of fine dining at that point.
yeah. We do want to do live content at some point. We're looking at a couple different things, maybe broadcasting on Facebook or YouTube while we do this.
I've been experimenting with a few things on my own. So
Yep. And then we also are working on. We still not cemented. Bo, if you're listening to this, we need to make this happen.
Bo.
They gave us another shout out. We're working with DV Radio. And they just gave us another shout out. So they have so we're gonna be on there. It's just not cemented, and we're still working a day or time that we'll be on.
What is
radio.
DV? What is DV Radio?
Dysfunctional Veterans Radio Station.
Okay. All right.
So it's mostly pointed towards veterans, even though obviously anyone can listen to it. And we're gonna. I'm the only veteran on this side. But yeah, we think we'll be able to help some people out because a lot of veterans want to get into some creative stuff, and they will broadcast us on their radio station. So we're going to start off being recorded, but if there's a want for it, then we will go live on the radio station, at least in the audio form. And we are looking to be syndicated other places, but that was my number one on my list to be syndicated on DD Radio.
Do you guys do a lot of cons? Comic Cons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually how we started, because all three of us cover conventions for our own personal websites, public access TV, photography, cosplay videos, and then we just kept running into each other. So we figured we'll talk about creating media during the podcast. We all go. I think you go to what, 12 or 13 conventions a year?
Yeah, at least.
I go to around, I think last year I hit 21. And you
I hit like 19 last year.
Yeah. So you said you hit like 25.
Well,
because you hit more than I did, I thought. I don't know.
Well, I did a lot.
You
of
get the
small,
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm kind of.
We just this month alone, or last month alone, I think we went to at least 3 weekends worth.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing a couple cons this summer. 20 Milo's Con in Wyandotte. Did you go to the Wyandotte one last year?
I'm always at that one.
I did a panel last there, and we did live broadcast through Podcast Detroit.
I was there. I was in the audience during that, and then you're like, well, no one's here, so they walked over to the table. And did that, and everyone got to sit down except for me. So I just figured, well, I guess I'm not invited. And they did the same thing at another one, I want to say, or could have been that one, I don't remember, where there was another kid that doesn't do any podcasting. He got a seat in front of the microphone and talk, but I didn't. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I love you guys, but I've never been on a Podcast Detroit show. Random strangers get on their show, but not me.
Honestly, it's I was really lucky to do that. I was the rookie of that group, and I was hosting it, and it kind of goes to show how much trust they had in me. But it was really cool to be able to sit there and do that with all the established veterans that they have at the network, and Karen.
Now, when you say veterans, you're not talking about military veterans. You're talking about podcasters.
No, I'm talking about podcasters.
We have to make a line considering.
Right. I'm sorry.
A military veteran.
Right. No disrespect. No disrespect.
Yeah, all the veterinarians are going to get together.
And then there's veterinarians. Yeah.
But no, I was really lucky, and I remember that. I remember I remember there, we formed a little bit of an audience. I don't remember. You're not getting a seat, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But when I come back and want to do Podcast Elite, I'm taking, because I already talked to Tony, I'm taking Podcast Elite. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff at the con this year.
Very cool.
It's going to be awesome. So
Yeah,
I'll
probably be in there doing video again.
I'll make sure you get involved this time. Okay, I'm going to save you a specific seat. I'm going to buy a seat, and I'm going to write Toad's name on it, and nobody else is going to sit in that seat except for you. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then what's going to be bad is you're going to show up and you're going to see this too. You're going to see this chair, and you'll be like, "Holy shit! This guy actually bought me a chair and it has my name on it." And just for you, I'm gonna like tie-dye sparkle it with diamonds and everything.
Oh.
Your name is going to be perfect. It's going to be beautiful.
Oh, right to the heart. Right to the
It's going to be it's going to be beautiful.
But yeah, a lot of love for Tony Malo. I know he's
Yeah,
working on some other stuff too. That I do really like his guy.
He's a brilliant artist. I love Tony's stuff.
Oh yeah. We did have him on the show right before he released the Christmas special of Gappo, or like the last Gappo thing he did around New Year's. I want to say Christmas or New Year's.
Well, I got to know Tony because we my show went before the Gooder Guys at Podcast Detroit. So I would run into them every single week, and he was just a wealth of him and his host, where they're just Jeremy, where they were just great guys, helping a lot.
Yeah, we used to going even further back. There was a comic book group every Friday night at this comic book store in Taylor, and both him and I and Brett Pinson and Kevin Lean, we were all part of that group. So we met up every Friday night for years, just talk about the new comics that just came out. And it was not podcast, not recorded, not nothing, just a bunch of geeks sitting in the comic book store talking about comics.
It's there's something special about, I love podcasting, I really do. Wasn't something I ever thought I would get into as much as I have, because like I said, I'm creatively driven. I go project to project. I mean, I'm writing my own short story right now. I'm writing. I'm doing Chase One, my storm chasing team. I got thousands of people on there who send messages every day about weather, and managing that in itself is a chore. And then now the network. So I never thought podcasting would be what it means to me now, but it's opened up it's opened up a lot of doors, and I'm kind of thankful for that.
You got to share your story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a unique story. Not many people. Who else do you know that? I always brag that we're number one in our demographic on SoundCloud and on iTunes, because there's nobody else that talks about what I talk about. There's like 3 or 4 other storm chasing podcasts, but no one knows about them. I'm going to in 2 weeks. I'm going to the National Weather Service conference in Indiana, where National Weather Service employees listen to my show, and I'm going there as a guest. And then October, I'm being flown out to WeatherCon, where I'm the first VIP speaker at WeatherCon at Columbia, Missouri, at the University of Missouri, where they're gonna fly me out for the weekend, and I'm so lucky that all these doors are opening up, and I'm gonna do a live show at WeatherCon too. That's gonna have a lot of surprises and things that I'm working on for that. So.
Now, Michael, these nor'easters that have been happening all along the East Coast, would you have loved to have gone out and covered those?
No, I hate snow. I hate. You have no one. You have people assume that I love snow. I'm a storm chaser. And you know what? I literally hate snow more than I hate anything else in this entire world. I can't stand it. There's other chasers who will go out and want to be a part of these nor'easters and everything, and I'm just sitting there. I'm thinking to myself, "Are you fucking stupid? Because if you drive out to these nor'easters, you're not coming home. It's not like a chase trip where I can drive out. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna be gone to Illinois for 2 days. If I drive out to New York in the nor'easter, I'm gonna be there for 5 or 6 days.
So you'd rather be in St. Thomas when a Category 4 hits?
Yeah, I've never done a hurricane. There's a reason why too. Hurricanes are very dangerous. You don't chase a hurricane. you know what the hurricane doesn't even chase. This hurricane doesn't even chase you. It's just coming at you. You know, some of my friends love doing it. But basically, what you do is you just calculate where the eye wall is going to make landfall, which gets tricky sometimes. So you have to move up and down the coast. But most of the time, a lot of people get it right. And all you do is they do nothing but they find a hotel. They wait for the eye wall and they shoot video as the eye wall passes over. But the hell they experience before the eye wall and the hell they experience after the eye wall, they don't get out of that place. Some of my chaser friends were stranded down there 7 to 10 extra days.
Wow.
In Texas with Irma, and Harvey and everything this year. You know, there's people that lost their. You know, we think none of the chasers lost their lives, but there were residents who were in the hotel who did. So it's, I don't have the desire to go and park myself in front of a Category 5 hurricane where you can't control the situation. I feel like I'm in a car, I'm driving alongside of a tornado. I have a tiny bit of control of what I can do. If I want to hit the brakes, I can hit the brakes. If I want to make a left turn, I can make a left turn. I always have an escape route. There's no escaping an eye wall of a Category 5 hurricane. It's just it's coming for you.
Is it true that was it some tornadoes that they only last a certain amount of time and then they just end like that?
Definitely, yeah. Very brief. There could be 2-minute tornado on the ground. There could be 38-minute long tornadoes on the ground. It just depends on the strength of the mesocyclone, how big the storm is, if any cold air is going to undercut that tornado or not. But yeah, they can go from 30 seconds to 30 minutes.
Wow.
Without getting too in depth, what kind of equipment do you use chasing after them?
Very simple. I have a laptop, a DSLR camera, and I have a couple different weather gauges as well. Very simple. I'm not complicated at all.
Okay, you don't have a van that's like, this is our HQ. We have this.
I don't have Dorothy. I don't have Dorothy, guys. I'm sorry. People ask me all the time if I have Dorothy. I don't have Dorothy.
I don't know what
it's like that movie they had years ago.
Yeah.
Oh no,
That's the
that's
movie
Twister.
reference.
Yeah.
okay. All right. I would sell for Toto, but
It's like, we
I
have
don't-
a multi-million-dollar budget, sure.
If I would have got the Discovery, if the Discovery Channel thing manifests itself, I'll be able to upgrade as far as tech goes.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm happy with what I have.
Like, do you just like, oh, there's a storm coming. Hey, boss, I'm going to take off for 3 days. I'm going to chase a storm. Like,
It's pretty much it. I mean, it's as simple as that. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking to take some time off coming up too. I'm thinking about taking a month of May off. I need some extended time off just after health issues over the last month or two, and all the projects that I'm working on. So I'm looking to take some time off, and my goal is to chase uninterrupted in May right now, and just have the whole month to go through and do what I need to do. So I don't have to beg for permission to go chase a storm for 3 days.
and how would that affect the network?
It won't. We have a chain of command, thankfully.
So it's not just you. You are not the start and the end.
No, I'm not. I'm not the. Well, I mean, when it comes to, I've pretty much organized absolutely everything. I recruited all the shows.
Mm-hmm.
I have my friend Ryan, who's doing this with me, who basically he built the YouTube page and he uploads the content. When I need him to take over the day-to-day operations, I'll take over the day-to-day operations. But that's pretty much, it's not going to be difficult at that point. Everything else already be set. Everything will be put in place and set up by them. That's
awesome. Because so many times we talk to smaller networks, it's all one person or two people.
No, I have a couple different people on the inside with me on this one, so I'm lucky.
Okay. And for now, it's all out of pocket, but you guys hopefully will be able to support. Now, you did mention, this was a while ago, but you did mention that you wanted to see if someone could actually make a living off of selling sponsorships.
Yep. I'm gonna see how that works. Advertisecast is a great outlet to do that. When I was doing my show monthly, I was getting $200 from each sponsor, but I was getting $200 a show just to do my show. And if I can get $200 a show to do my show, I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? What can I get somebody who's actually good at this?
And you say you went through a website for that?
No, I went through local businesses here
Okay.
in the downriver area. So they paid. I got 2 different sponsors that paid me $100 each.
Mhm.
So each show I was cranking out, I was walking out to $200 in profit. So it was nice.
Very cool.
But I'm hoping to do that for AdvertiseCast. I'm hoping to get a couple of my shows hooked up. Get a little cash flow going for
When
them.
you say advertise cash,
It's a website.
Okay, so that is a website.
Yeah, advertisecast.com. So what it is, it's just a website full of advertisers who are looking for shows that are popular. It has you fill out a whole bunch of details about your show, your listens, your views, your downloads, where they can find your show. And then they just contact you and they're saying, hey, I want to pay you $40 an episode to advertise these underwear for us. Go ahead and do it for this amount of episodes.
Mark, do not get any ideas.
No, son, we do the dance.
Keep that robe on.
If that robe comes off, my mouth.
The audio version.
If that robe comes off, my screen goes black. I'm just telling you right now. I'm sorry. I can't see that. I'm not feeling great.
I thought you meant your screen goes black as in you're turning off your camera, and I don't want to see what you're doing behind the black screen.
No, it's all going off.
Pay no attention, man.
I don't want to know what's going off. I mean, this is what. Oh wow, William's turning red.
Wow, look at this dude. Look at him.
Wow.
Look at you.
Yeah,
He's turning all red. Look at that. I can see that from here.
William starred in a movie that was very much unheard of. It was The Red Balloon 2, The Son of the Red Balloon. I just totally made that up. So if there's actually a such
I was going to
thing,
say, somebody's going to Google that, and it's going to be there, and they're going to watch the movie and be like, he lied.
I was actually getting ready to Google that. No lie. I was going Red Balloon 2. That sounds like a movie I'd want to watch.
yeah, Revenge of the Helium.
Wow. All right. It's on the list right there. The Netflix.
Revenge of the Red Balloon 2.
I think that title was actually used in the old cartoon show The Critic, Revenge of the Red Balloon. And it was a very, I don't know if it was an old cartoon.
Meanwhile, in underwear sponsorship land.
So someone is actually going to be actively trying to sell sponsorships for the podcasts on the network.
Yeah. Just,
That is super cool. I really want to know. I've always been curious if someone could actually make a living like that. That was like my backup if I lose my day job tomorrow. Hey, I'm just gonna go out and just sell sponsorships for other people's stuff and make commission. I don't think
I will let you know
that.
I will give you an answer in 6 months how it works out.
What's that?
I'll give you an answer in 6 months how it works out.
Very cool.
I'm hoping to help out some people though. I'm not worried about over the next 6 months making any money myself. I'm just looking to have the network grow a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about exclusivity. Some networks are like, if you're with us, you're with us.
Mm-hmm.
Other networks, just like, yeah, you're paying us to use a studio. We don't care what else you do.
Yeah, if that was the case, I wouldn't have left Podcast Detroit. But my shows, I have no exclusive. They're not exclusive to me. I've made an arrangement to where they can't. I don't want them joining any other networks, but things like Spotify and other little hosting sites, I encourage them to be on it because I want you to be able to spread your show as much as possible. Saying, hey, you're on these networks, but our home is podcast, or there's a podcast that we network on this YouTube. And the one thing I'm also giving them a chance to do is a lot of them want to branch out. They want to do video stuff. And I'm giving them that opportunity. I'm giving them the home to do it. Because a lot of the shows that I have tried doing YouTube stuff and it really didn't work. Their YouTube channels are very bare. So that's why I'm trying to, the more content and the more diverse content you offer, I think the better you are as a whole. So, they're looking forward to doing stuff like that. But I don't, as long as they don't go off and join another network, they have my permission to join any hosting site, get their show out any way they can. They sign I have no exclusive, or I have no creative input on any of my people's shows. I trust them 100%. So I'm pretty much, I think I'm probably the most laid back podcast network owner out there right now, just because I've allowed and I've talked to a lot of my hosts enough to have that trust in them. So that's where I'm rolling with right now.
Right. But you don't currently have a studio. You're literally just a network and trying to set them up with.
Yeah, they're shooting their own. They're recording their own stuff. My studio is in my home downstairs, and I'm building out. I cannot shoot a show. I can't do a 2-hour show or a show right now because of what I'm going through my throat wise.
Well, when they join your network, what are they getting?
They're going to get the promotion, the backing of the network. We're going to have a whole social media setup of paid advertisements coming up here in the next month. We're also going to be doing a lot of cross-promoting and cross-branding with each other, which I think is going to be really fun. A lot of networks shows don't interact with each other. My show.
I have a whole rant about that.
My shows.
I'm not going to go into it, but we that was one thing we wanted with one of our past networks. We started a thing, and due to conflicts of creativity, I guess, we got kicked out of our own collab that we started with like half the network that was local.
It's so the one goal that I have right now when it comes to collabs, I told the girls from the Secret Life of Weddings, is that I want to bring you out. I want you to come out to one of the cons in Michigan in the summer. Hopefully, the Downriver Con for Tony Milo's con. And I want you to.
That is not called. We don't want to call that Downriver Con because there's already.
I know. There's like a
Yeah, there's already one called Downriver Con, which we'll be in Lincoln Park High School for the Downriver Comic Con at I don't remember when it is.
It's in June.
It's in June. I believe we're featured guests again. I know you're doing the cosplay contest.
Yeah, I touched base with the guy back after Christmas, and I haven't.
Chris, yeah,
he passed along some promotion to me a month ago, and
I think I just got something from him today. Actually, just emailed and I wasn't going to go into that, but since it was wrong, but yeah, we'll be at Downriver Comic Con in Lincoln Park, Michigan. We're going to be at Lawrence Tech University's Anime Con coming up here April 21st. We'll be that's LTU Anime Con in Southfield, Michigan. We're also going to be at I'm actually have a meeting tomorrow about Michigan SteamCon, which will have a podcasters block. I am bringing some equipment, and I'm basically going to let people to use my, whatever podcasters that sign up for the Michigan SteamCon, they don't have to bring all their own equipment. They can just jump on and use my microphones if they're accepted onto the block. I will not have anything to do with that submission process. I'm just going to help out for anyone that needs help out with the equipment.
That's
and
awesome.
they can use ours. What are the other ones we're doing? I know we're doing other ones too. PingleCon, we just got official notice that we will be interviewing the guest of honor at PingleCon, Mark O'Shire.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
We'll just pretend I said his name correct.
Yeah.
We'll be interviewing one of their guest of honors. And I forgot what other places we're going to be at. We're always at yourcomiccon.com stuff. I don't know what the next one will be at, but I'm sure
I'm going to be at IPSYCon.
Ipsy, okay. William be at Ipsy. I know I'll probably be at Tony Milo's at some point. Then there's Monroe Comic Con where you guys will at least won't be with a podcast. You guys be doing your own things. I'll be at Hearst Fest again during that. So yeah, we go to a lot of conventions and a lot of events.
I wish I had.
That answers your question.
But I go.
a
I,
little
I
better.
wish I had that much time. I don't have that much free time.
Oh,
I can't notice.
I wish I did.
Nothing
I
committed
wish
to
I did.
anything, but I
go
will
chase
try
a
to
storm.
go.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I get to go do a national the conference in 2 weeks. So it'll
Very
be nice
cool.
to be back on the road and just stuff like that. But I thank you guys so much for having me on. I love talking to all of you. I want to do the show again. I mean, I know I was supposed to be there in person, but I didn't really want to get anybody sick or
And we
risk it.
appreciate that. It's
I don't
been a
want to.
very long and tough couple days for at least on this end as well, and we appreciate not getting sick.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't. But I want to definitely hold up. I know I wanted to be on the show, so great that we were able to work this out. I'll have to when we do the Chasers Lounge, I'll have to have you come over and see my studio, and we'll have you have you on, and we'll do something fun.
Absolutely, totally appreciate it. Go ahead and shout yourself out. All your social medias that you want to promote.
Yeah, take a look at the Podcast Elite Network on YouTube. Just search Podcast Elite Network. We'll pop right up. We got some content up there for you to listen to. And then
There's
check me
some
out
really
at
great podcasts on there. I know you have a relationship show on there. I see them.
2 Keys in a Podcast. I love those. I love Devin. I love Stephanie. They're a very unique pair. They make for some interesting conversation.
It's hard for me to get through their podcast. My cuteness level only can go so much before I turn them off. And I don't turn off because I don't like them. I turn off, be like, this is too cute for me. I have to take a breather, look at my life.
The one thing I gotta wonder is, you gotta think two people actually like each other that much. Good for them, though. I have more props. That's kind of that's what brought me to them. Two people that actually like each other. That's unique. You don't find that these days. So. But yeah, then I'm also going to be introducing the Movie Sleuth coming up soon. They're going to be on the network. I love that. I love that entire group. And then there's more to come. But check out Podcast Elite on the YouTube network. And then find me on Facebook at Chase1 Facebook.com/Chase1, or just search for Chase1 Storm Chasing.
Is that the word one or the number one?
That's the word one. So
Okay.
Chase 1, ONE, Storm Chasing. We're a community of thousands right now. So I do a lot of live content, live videos on there, which is always fun. So please come and check us out. Other than that, that's all I got. I don't have any other social media. Don't look me up. I'm really boring. Don't send me friend requests. I'm extremely boring.
And you could find Mark at
crazymark.com.
But it's all about William from
allaboutwilliam.com.
I'm Toaden from Toaden.com. You can also find the audio and video at Toaden.com, video at youtube.com/ToadenK, and of course, MediaLiterSandwich.com. And we're on many other podcast things. You can find that. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our discussion, and may the algorithms be in your favor.